Our guest today, Steve Murphy, he is the man who took down Pablo Escobar. If you want to bring that picture up with Pablo. And he wrote a book, he and Javier Pena, which we've had on before. The last time he was on, the title of the interview I think we did was Who Killed Pablo Escobar? It was a title, got a few million views, 3 million views to be exact. That's himself right there, that's Pablo. This event happened when? That picture's what, 93?
December 2nd, 93.
December 2nd, 93. From then till today, you wrote a book about how you guys took down Pablo Escobar. After that, from that moment till today, how much have you seen changed from the world or different countries popping out the next Pablo Escobar? Is there possibilities of having the next Pablo Escobar since you guys took down Pablo?
Absolutely. And so on our speaking tours, we open up for Q&A with audiences. You can ask us anything. I mean, you can talk about the investigation, you can ask about the Netflix series Narcos, we'll talk about our personal lives to a certain degree. But one of the most frequently asked questions is, how has drug trafficking or the war on drugs changed since the death of Pablo Escobar, the world's first narco-terrorist, the world's most wanted criminal of his day? Well, the first answer is, can you still go out on any street corner in the United States and buy cocaine? We all know the truth. You can. It hasn't diminished at all. You look at the prices, the supply versus demand. Prices are down. The wholesale prices of cocaine in the United States, coming into the United States, are down, which is indicative of a large supply of cocaine coming in. The sad thing is, here in the United States, we are the leading consumer country in the world when it comes to illegal narcotics. Well,
really?
That's a reputation we're not proud of, but it's the truth. So people say, well, why have a drug war on drugs? We're looking at legalization of marijuana as well as other drugs now here in the United States. So this is, a lot of people think it's strange coming from Javier and I when we say this. The war on drugs is one of the biggest misnomers I've ever heard. Go back to the time of Pablo Escobar. We're going after a person who's responsible for 80% of the cocaine supply in the world.
Wow.
Now think about this. In your occupations, wouldn't you like to have 80% of the market? It's called a monopoly.
Yes.
Right? And that's what he was able to achieve. So we're going in on this war on drugs. Well, when you go to a war, you get your allies together, you get your material, your personnel, you go in to win. What did we do in Colombia? We sent 2 Americans, Javier Pena and Steve Murphy. Does that sound like a war? Now, we had support from the embassy. We had agents just chomping at the bit to come and join us up there. We had DEA offices all around the world. You had law enforcement around the world wanting to participate and assist any way they possibly could. But it was not a war. It seemed like it because of all the bombings. We're flying in on Huey gunships, being shot at as we're coming in. You're going out on patrols and having car bombs blow up and kill police officers that you're traveling with. You got indiscriminate car bombs going off around all the cities, Bogota, Medellin, and Cali, simply because Pablo Escobar wanted to impose his will on everybody else to make him. He got elected as a member of Congress. The Justice Minister, Rodrigo Lara Bonilla, had the stones to stand up and call him what he was, a murderer and a drug trafficker.
We know what happened to him.
Exactly. It cost him his life. He paid the ultimate price. But you know what? The man is a hero because he was brave enough to stand up and tell the truth. Well, maybe if we could do that here in the United States, stand up and tell the truth.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Pat, can I make one quick
sure.
comment on this photo? This is the first time I've seen this photo, Steve. Just looking at you, the thing that just jumps out at me, you look relieved. Like so much of your life had been spent obsessing about this guy, and maybe you couldn't even believe it at that time that he's lying in front of you dead. I mean, was it an obsession? Was that all that you were consumed with? And how long did it take? How long were you after him?
Well, so this picture is the culmination of an 18-month manhunt. But Pablo Escobar started dealing drugs in the late 70s, early 80s. So this was a long time. This is December 1993. There were 2 manhunts. The first one before his surrender, which he got the deal of a lifetime, where he surrendered to his custom-built prison, stayed in there 1 year, and then the day he
Country club. I mean, he built his prison. I mean, who gets to build their own prison?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you go in there, and he had a 2-room suite. He had a jacuzzi tub in his private bathroom. What we have in the United States,
Baller.
just like everywhere else, is group showers.
That's right.
I mean, it's ridiculous. But you're right in the fact that we felt like the weight of the world had been lifted off our shoulders. My wife and I had adopted our first daughter. We have 2 sons that were back in the United States. And I tell people, a lot of people read the book or they see the different shows and interviews that we've done, and they'll email us and they'll send us messages, hey, I'm interested in becoming a DEA agent. What's it all about? First thing I tell them, it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. It will affect every area of your life. And you know what happens? and this is wrong. I don't believe in this. I believe our priorities should be God, family, job. What happens though? Your priorities become job, family, God. Okay, so it just becomes consuming.
God goes last.
Unfortunately, it's not the way it's supposed to be.
Why is that? Why do you say God last?
Just because you get consumed by things like this.
Every sin in the Bible you have to commit. Is that kind of why you're saying God goes last? Because to really pull off what you want to do, you're going to have to do stuff that even God wouldn't be. Is that what you're saying, or no? You don't lose your values and principles.
No, never.
Okay.
You never give up your integrity.
So why would God go last, though?
It's just the way it happens. Because you're consumed by things like this. I mean, I'm living in Medellin for 18 months. My wife's back in Bogota, and we adopted our first daughter. So she's back there. I can't even spend time with them. Javier's family's back in Texas. He can't come and visit his family because they wanted us both in country, every day to handle what was going on. And then when you do get to come home and see your family, you're kind of focused on them, and that's where they come in second. And then with your principle, I grew up a preacher's kid, So God's a very strong part of our family, of our beliefs. Thank God he's a merciful God and forgiving, because I had a lot to be forgiven of. But the thing is, we never broke the law. We broke policies and procedures every day. We weren't supposed to go out on operations. We're flying out on operations every day in helicopter gunships going on raids.
You never broke the law. You broke policies and procedures every day.
Oh, they didn't want us to leave the base. The first policy we broke was leaving the base.
Bend the rules a little bit, right?
No, we broke it. We broke it. We had the U.S. Army's Delta Force. We had the SEAL Team 6 from the U.S. Navy with us for 18 months. And guys, I got to tell you, those are the studs of the world. I don't hold a candle to them, but they're military. They obeyed the rules, the orders, the policies, and procedures.
You don't have to.
Well, we're supposed to, but we knew we couldn't do our job. And think about this. Tom, think about this. What if I said, hey, listen, I heard Pablo Escobar's down at the corner of 1st and Main. Go see if he's down there. I'm going to get a cup of coffee. Come back and let me find out. Tell me what you found out.
Can I take a Blackhawk to go look for him?
No. But how much respect would you have for me?
Right.
How rich was he? We talked about this, but how rich was he?
Well, there's a lot of speculation out there that, in his day and time, he was the richest criminal in the world. Go do the research now. Find out who the richest criminal has been of all time. He's still number one. His estimated wealth is as high as $33 billion. I read an article here just recently where it's estimated to be at $33 billion. Forbes magazine came out 7 years in a row, ranking him as the 7th richest man in the world. Now, I don't know how they came up with their statistics. Makes you a little suspicious about that number, right? But, people say, well, what about El Chapo? Not even close. He's a billionaire. He's a multi-billionaire, but not even close to what Pablo Escobar was able to amass. And I feel like I'm coming across excitedly saying this. This is not a good thing. None of his money was earned from legal pursuits. All of his money was blood money.
All of his money was blood money. Today, who is the modern day Pablo? Would it be an El Chapo?
Well, it's his successor, a guy who's been around for years, who's a very well-known Mexican, Ismael Zambada. They call him Amayo. So when Chapo moved up to the United States to serve the rest of his life in one of our prisons, Mayo has taken over his position as the head of the Sinaloa cartel. Yeah. And Ismael Zambada's been around for years and years. He's not a newbie.
Here's the difference, though. These guys were pop culture icons, right? I mean, Pablo Escobar, El Chapo. You never heard of this guy. Are they being less glamorized now, or are we going to find out more about him?
Oh, you're going to find out more. He's as first of all, you understand how violent Chapo was. I mean, we've all read the articles and seen reports, and I've probably seen things that you haven't had access to. Zambada would not have gotten in that position if he couldn't carry on. He's got to forcefully maintain his position of leadership, which is true in the drug world. People say we took out Pablo Escobar and had zero effect. Well, that's because there's so much money involved, and there's so many people in this world that are waiting to take advantage of you and me. Because if it's drugs, okay, if it's weapons, if it's counterfeit clothing, whatever the case might be, they're criminals, and that's what they know. There's no remorse, no guilt feelings in their actions.